And right at that moment, you know what I'm saying, I had a choice, you know, because I knew he did it. I had a choice. I could have just whopped, but, you know, I said no. But just to show you how much I've grown, you know, I looked over, I said, hey, man, well, how'd that chair get over there by the cat? You know, I said, you're the only one short. I mean, nobody else needs to use the chair.
Right.
So he's sitting there looking at the chair and everything, and then once he figured out, you know, I had him, he said, well, yeah, I did it. You know, but, you know, I did it after I came. You know, he came with excuse and everything. But we sit down and we talked about it, and I said, well, hey, man, that's cool and everything. Just don't lie to your pop, you know. And so we were cool after that. But, yeah, that was my oldest boy. I mean, immediately, whop. You know, so.
you know, one thing I feel that we need, and it's such a complex holiday, and I just want to throw out a suggestion out there. You can take this advice. You don't have to, of your audience. If you don't have a good relationship with your father, on this special day, give him a call. Give him a call out the blue. You know, brothers, I think it's so funny that we'll go to church and we say we love the Lord and that Jesus died for our sins and he forgave us our sins, right? But then we can't even forgive our human being, our own fathers.
That's right. Yeah.
Y'all, man, that's what it comes down to, because, you know, I appreciate my father because there were a lot of things that I said, a lot of things that I did out of bitterness, out of spite, because I didn't understand him. But when I came to grow and forgive that, and that's what we need. Our community is suffering and dying too much. It needs to be more forgiveness. And to the fathers out there, if you know you messed up, if you know you effed up, if you know that you gave your family hell and you did not do the things that you were supposed to do, you know what? I'm not in your shoes, but there's one thing I would do, brothers. The first thing I would do is call up that child, call up that estranged child, and I would say, I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What's wrong with saying I'm sorry? I'm not saying you got to say, oh, let me back in your life, blah, blah, blah. Just say I'm sorry. At least you acknowledge that you were wrong, because I think there are still many children out there. I was one of them. Yeah, I played big and bad. Oh, well, whoever that nigga is, I don't need that sperm donor now. Yes, I do. Yeah. You still need that person. Yeah, there's a lot I'm still learning from my daddy right now that I never knew, that I learned about myself. You always going to need that. Talk to me, brothers.
Well, my parents split up, but eventually I spend way more time with my dad than I did my mom. Because my mom just needed that time to herself, and I guess just learn how to do things differently. Yeah. But during that time, in more times like this now, I don't always agree with my dad. I don't. We see things completely different. We're two different individuals, and probably maybe because of things I've seen coming up and things going on now, I just don't understand sometimes the things he does, and maybe he don't understand sometimes the things I do.
Right.
We're gonna argue, but it's that unconditional love anyways. We just gonna get over it. We're not a very talkative family, you know. Guys are not gonna have that big emotional moment because we're grown men. That's the way we do things, but it's good that we can still work it out. You know, we're just not gonna have a yelling match. We're not gonna fight and throw things at each other. It's not gonna come to that because it's still a love and respect issue.
Right. And you know, to those individuals out there who may have lost their father, you know, maybe at a young age or something like that, due to an untimely death or whatever the case. You know, if there's in situations like that, uncles and males in that family should step into that role. If there's older brothers or something like that, hopefully an individual would have some male positive role model in the household. But the point is, Dion, at least, even though you guys didn't see eye to eye, he was there. You know what I mean? He was at a point where you could always reach him if you needed him. And, you know, my beef is, again, you know, with the fathers who are out there and these kids who are having the same type of issues that you have, you know, I had at that time. They don't have, that father is not there, so they don't have any outlet, and a lot of time that gets bottled up and turns into all kinds of other stuff, anger or whatever the case. And there's so many different paths that a young man could take at a certain age, and when the father is not there, you know, it's crazy on how many of them take the wrong roads. As good a job as these mothers do, ladies, I mean, not taking anything away from you. I just personally believe at a certain time, you know, mothers are so important as far as nurturing and bringing the child along. When a young man gets to a certain age, his father has to be there. There's nothing that taking anything away from you, but a young man has to have that male left.
Brother, like we always say, in order for a boy to be a man, he has to see a man. And one thing that's real out there, a lot of fathers, some of you guys right now, let's be real, you're on paper. This criminal justice system has taken away a lot of fathers too. Now, many people want to say, oh yeah, well, they made bad choices. Well, it's a whole lot that goes along with why communities of color especially are being targeted for all these drug crimes, small-time offenses that take fathers out of homes. Right. No different than the master taking these fathers out of plantations and selling them off to slavery. Something is taking these fathers away. And those are the things that we need to address. But those of you out there, I understand you got to get that paper. I understand you're trying to get that dope. But your children need you. Yep. I was one of those children. A child needs his father. And even those of you who are locked up, some of y'all may be locked up watching right now. Write your children. Write your children. You may not can't see them. I would imagine I'm not locked up, haven't been. Thank God. Hopefully I never will be. But if I was locked up, I don't even think I want my child to see me in that predicament. I don't think I would want my son to see me, but I would write him. I would call him. Let him know you're thinking about him. Call him on his birthday. Yeah. Do something, because too many of our homes are fatherless. Go ahead, man.
I mean, and really the main point of fatherdom, I mean, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to do some things wrong. You're going to do some things right. But your main point of being the father, your main purpose, rather, is just to prepare them for the real world. Prepare them to be responsible, productive people. I mean, you just can't just have something like if a baby, you just can't leave them out there on their own. And that's that's basically what you're doing, expecting them to fend for their own. They haven't learned important skills of how to deal with people, how to handle situations, how to basically even handle their own emotions as a teenager. I mean, a lot of teenagers just go out and just think they can do whatever because maybe that's what they seen at home.
Good point.
So in turn, you can condition them to say, maybe this was what I was doing, but I was making mistakes.
Yeah.
And maybe you shouldn't live the same way I did. I mean, maybe I'm not a scientist or whatever, but you too can go to school. Maybe because I didn't. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. Help them out.
The single most joyful thing, in my life on a daily basis is watching my kids grow up. Everything that goes along with that. Watching them argue, watching them fight, watching them hug, watching them kiss. And I guess it gives me so much joy for the simple fact that I'm there to see it. You know what I'm saying? And I guess, I get a big kick out of that because, I wasn't part of that as far as growing up. But again, there's so many guys that make the excuse, well, mine wasn't there, so I ain't gonna be there for mine. And I just think that's ridiculous, man.
Yeah, and again, it's a complex holiday because right now let's just be honest, we're in a state of confusion, brothers, on how to celebrate Father's Day. But like I said, on today, let this Father's Day be a different stepping stone. Just try, because Can You Relate said it. Them crazy dudes on TV said, hit you up, and I'm just calling to tell you I love you.
That's it.
I love you. And hang up the phone if you want to. At least that contact has been made. And again, how can we say that Christ should forgive us, or whatever your religious preference is, that all of these things you should have forgiveness and should enter into the kingdom, when you can't even forgive your own earthly, biologically connected person, your father? Man, happy Father's Day to all the Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. Real quick, brothers, I want to shout out all the fathers out there. I want to shout out my daddy, Ernest Elston. Appreciate you. We're going to get up. We're going to hang out again. You already know. We always do. Yep. They done hung with us, too. That's right. Shout out to Verdelsky Miller, my uncle, who stepped in a lot when my father couldn't be there. Shout out to my pastor, Pastor Bob McLean, Live My Faith Ministries. You know you did a lot for me. Shout out to Kelly Price. Appreciate them home cooked meals. You did a lot for me. And also shout out to one of my mentors, Amin Rashidi, out there in Texas, working with a nonprofit. Appreciate all you did, man. Talk to me.
All right, I want to say Happy Father's Day, definitely my father, Melvin McClendon, my uncle J.C. Patton, my uncle Aaron McClendon, a co-worker of mine, Raymond Martin. He was a good man. Roy Coates, definitely shout out to you. I really appreciate the wisdom. And also, what's his name? Roger Miller, too. Good guy, man.
Cool.
And for me, you know, a lot of my family, of course, is in the great state of Texas. But you know, a shout out, happy Father's Day to my uncle, Slick Uncle Nick, and a lot of them around, and my brother Michael